And I'm fucking livid that we are stuck in the timeline where Alex Jones is right. Trying to work instead of work.
Oh no! Oh, okay, no.
Why aren't the Amish afraid of COVID? Because they don't have TVs.
As I said, democracy is a system that reinforces authoritarian ideals.
I hope I don't get canceled. Talk to Steve.
Being a victim of a tragedy doesn't make you an expert in public policy.
Well, I mean, AOC is a drama queen and she's full of shit.
Remember, they lost the Afghan war 10 years ago.
You brought a freaking guillotine.
They said, you don't get to tell us no, we're the state health department, and I said, hell no.
It wasn't making Christianity better, it was making rock worse.
What the fuck do you have on your face, Olivia?
You want to make the world a better place? Have some babies and raise them to not be stupid.
I remember thinking, man, governments are not going to like this shit.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, anarchists, shit posters, people of the internet, and most of course, Libertarian Party members who are much disappointed. Now, I bet you're all wondering what we're doing here. Brought in by that fine thumbnail of the hideously grotesque, the worst picture I could find of Tara DeSisto to talk about the conflicts of interest within the Libertarian Party. Now, libertarians hold themselves to a higher standard. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us better. But apparently, libertarians holding themselves to a higher standard has gotten in the way. Now, before we get started, the shill, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Go back, check the back catalog. And if you want to get some merch, some new merch for you. So make sure you head over to snackswag.com. Okay. And you can check out our brand new You Stupid Son of a Bitch. Let's go, Brandon. You Stupid Son of a Bitch Hot Mic t-shirt today featuring the one and only lovable, laughable Uncle Joe Biden. Available only on snackswag.com. So make sure you guys check that out. Give it a visit and stock up on your favorite merch today. It's available as a sweatshirt and a t-shirt. Now, what are we here for tonight? What are we here for to talk about? Well,
to be safe from the government, so you became a stupid government.
The Libertarian Party is entrenched with corruption, entrenched with conflicts of interest. And for those of you who've been paying attention to the recent drama, the quick spark notes, the recap, Libertarian Party of Massachusetts recently held a purge of all of its members. Well, 47 to be precise. So over almost half the active members of the party, just because some in state party leadership deemed them threatening because they were a member of a caucus, the Mises caucus to be precise. And who exactly is it that's considering these people a threat? Well, none other than Tara DeSisto, a paid staff member of the Libertarian National Party. Tara is the director of development for the Libertarian National Party. It is her job. This is her full-time job, what she does for work. She gets a salary to fundraise for the Libertarian Party. And what is she doing with it? She's taking her free time to shit on its members, attack its members, insult its members, degrade its members, and slander one of its biggest allies in the liberty movement, the Free State Project. Tara has taken the podcast circuit, recently going on David Valenti's The Political Deep Dive. It's one of the more boring shows I've come across because David just has no personality, no spirit, and just no enthusiasm about what he does. And I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of a link to redirect traffic. If you want to go find the full episode, it's an hour and a half of Tara and David just being as boring as they can while they speak from the horse's mouth to talk about themselves being corrupt. Well, however, there was a few clips of note that I wanted to bring out. This is going to be a short episode tonight. It's going to be a short review and react. So here we go. Now, I'm going to pause. We're going to talk about things as they go on. These are two really short clips that I did cut out, and the first one really makes my blood boil. So let me bring it up.
Touch on the Free State Project for a minute, because
the Free State Project doesn't want to touch on you, Tara.
I think that's really important to understand. A lot of libertarians think that the Free State Project is a libertarian initiative.
Because it is a libertarian initiative founded by libertarians, run by libertarians, to recruit libertarians to move to New Hampshire to create a libertarian utopia, because libertarian concentration is the only path forward that's proven successful. And in the past 10 years, the Free State Project has seen more libertarians elected than the Libertarian Party has in the past 50. The Free State Project has seen more libertarian initiatives pass successfully in the past 10 years than the Libertarian Party has in the past 50. The Free State Project has seen more success in protecting liberty and engaging with people from a libertarian perspective and a libertarian message than the Libertarian Party has in the last 50 years.
And it's not a project that has any association with the Libertarian Party directly.
Well, she's right on one thing. The Free State Project has no association with the Libertarian Party. The Free State Project is a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization that cannot engage in politics. The Libertarian Party is a political organization. It's actually a political party. If the Free State Project were to have any association officially with the Libertarian Party, that would actually be illegal. And, as a political operative, she ought to know these things. It is her job, and after all, to deal with the fundraising for the political party.
At the national level, I can tell you there are spaces that we overlap, but such as Freedom Fest. I know a lot of libertarians go to Pork Fest, but what I have come to conclude about the Free State Project is that they ran over 30 candidates in the 2020 election cycle, and every single one of them was a Republican.
So we're going to cut that down for a little bit here. So the Free State Project has a lot of strong overlaps with the Libertarian Party and the liberty movement in general. And those overlaps aren't in what festivals we go to. Those overlaps are in the principles that we embody, in the spirit of the politics which we embody and we fight for, and our love of human liberty as the basis of our moral structure. That's where the overlap happens. And that's why there are so many libertarians who are participants of the Free State Project, but not vice versa. We'll get to that. Now, we did run over 30 candidates, Free Staters. Well, the Free State Project didn't run any. Again, it's a 501c3 nonprofit. It can't run candidates. It can't engage in politics. It doesn't do that. There are other organizations in New Hampshire that do run candidates. Rebuild, Reopen New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, the Josiah Bartlett Center puts out policy white paperwork for them. AFP New Hampshire helps recruit candidates. The Get Involved PAC recruits candidates who lean libertarian. But the Free State Project didn't run a single candidate. However, a whole lot of Free Staters ran for office, and it was a lot more than 30. But she says every single one of them ran as a Republican, which is just not true. I mean, I don't know if you guys can really read the signs behind me. I'll make myself bigger, but I ran for U.S. Senate. I'm a Free Stater by any colloquial definition of the word. I never signed their list, but I volunteer for the Free State Project. I work with the Free State Project. I help host the Free State Project's podcast and produce their YouTube channel and Odyssey channel as my volunteer work for the organization, because I think they do a lot of great work. I ran for office as a libertarian on the Libertarian Party line in a ballot access race for the Libertarian Party. Other Free Staters that ran for office include Nick Sarwark, former chair of the Libertarian Party. He was a Free Stater. He ran for county treasurer. A.J. Olding, who ran for U.S. Congress as a libertarian. Plenty of Free Staters ran for office as libertarians in 2020. A bunch also ran as Republicans because we don't think it's an all eggs in one basket strategy. What's more important than our partisanship to the Libertarian Party is making sure that we're actually working for a world set free in our lifetime. And some people can accomplish that better when they're actually in office, as opposed to running a messaging campaign and a recruitment and growth campaign like I did for the Libertarian Party.
So what's important for us to maintain through all of this turmoil is that we are a hyper-partisan organization. We are a political party trying.
And maybe that's why you failed. America's a hyper-partisan country, and there's a lot of mathematical studies and laws about how political systems based on a winner-take-all system and a first-past-the-post electoral system will devolve into two-party systems, and people will only ever see the two largest political parties as viable parties in partisan campaigns. And if you want to focus on partisanship over principle, then you're no better than the duopoly. If you want to say we are a hyper-partisan organization, we will only ever support libertarians and will support any libertarian, no matter how shitty they are, then you are no better than the Republicans and the Democrats who you claim to hate and you claim to oppose. And in fact, you might even be worse because you're running and promoting yourself as the principled opposition to what they're doing. Now, no skin off your back if you only want to support libertarians and don't think people should be running as Republicans, but don't discredit them and their voting records and what they've accomplished just because of the letter next to their name. When you discredit somebody, regardless of their accomplishments and their voting record and their principles, just because of the letter next to their name, then yes, you are a hyper partisan organization and you don't care about liberty. You care about winning. And if that's okay, admit that you care about winning. You care about control. You care about power. You don't care about human liberty, human freedom, and the fight for human progress. Because if you did, then you wouldn't be a hyper partisan organization. You'd be a hyper principled organization that supported people regardless of what letter was next to their name on the ballot.
To establish this political party. And so as they want to influence us towards supporting more Republican leaning candidates, it's really important for us to dig our heels in the ground and say, no, we're here for the libertarian candidates.
That's fine and that's dandy. You can be here for the libertarian candidate. But when there's not a libertarian candidate on your ballot, are you going to let it go blank, or are you going to not cast a vote in favor of the candidate who has libertarian values, who shares every one of your purported values, who shares every one of your political stances just because they have a different letter next to their name? I won't. But I guess maybe I'm not partisan enough to join your Libertarian Party, Tara. Maybe because I've gotten to know some really great friends and really great people who happen to be Republicans, who happen to have stronger libertarian values than many in the Libertarian Party, is how I realized that. Maybe it's because I moved to New Hampshire. Maybe it's because I got involved in a community of libertarians that I was able to understand that your party and your partisanship is what's holding the Libertarian Party back and holding the libertarian movement from being successful.
That's what matters to us, because we are a viable party, and you will recognize us as something other than the duopoly. I want to touch on the
like I said there, we're not going to recognize you as something other than the duopoly, and we're not going to recognize you as a viable party if you're going to do this shit that makes the duopoly bad. If you're going to focus on hyper-partisanship rather than focus on the principles that people display after they're elected and the measures that they support after they're elected, then you're as bad as the people that you want us to oppose. And I don't stand for that. I stand for liberty in my lifetime. And liberty in my lifetime, and a world set free in my lifetime, can only be achieved if we operate on a pragmatic sense of reality. And the reality is the Libertarian Party does not have the infrastructure, does not have the support base, does not have the popular support to do what you want it to do, to win national elections, to win congressional elections, to win senatorial elections. But it does have the ability, the infrastructure, and the support to win local elections, to put people in school boards, to target nonpartisan races with hyper-principled libertarian candidates who can make an active impact in the daily lives of their constituents. So why don't you focus on that and let the people in New Hampshire and let the people who are participants in the Free State Project enjoy the fact that they're being successful. But moving on.
I think that New Hampshire has the Free State Project really running the show up there.
One, again, the Free State Project is a corporate entity that is a 501c3 nonprofit. It is not some shadowy cabal that runs the show. In fact, it's one of the most decentralized organizations you'll ever come across. I volunteer and do a lot of work for the Free State Project. A lot of my friends volunteer and do a lot of work for the Free State Project, but the Free State Project itself does not engage in politics. There are organizations like the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, the Josiah Bartlett Center, Rebuild, Reopen New Hampshire, AFP NH, the ACLU NH. There are dozens of liberty-centric organizations that are comprised of Free State Project participants, people who have moved for the Free State Project, or a bunch of natives who are sympathetic to the message of liberty, who are working on behalf of the libertarian movement here in New Hampshire. That's why it's successful, not because it's running the show, but because it's bringing people here and empowering them to run their own show. And furthermore, the context of this clip is Tara's talking about the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, and she says the Free State Project is running the show. And that is a blatantly false statement. In fact, the majority of the board of directors of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire are natives. They're not even Free Staters. But the Free Staters who are involved are hyper-principled, hyper-partisan people who support libertarians on the ballot. So if you think the Free State Project is about tarnishing and destroying the Libertarian Party, but yet the Free Staters who are running the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire are hyper-partisan and support libertarians, not Republicans, then how can you sit there with a straight face and say you think that the Free State Project's running the show? But we'll move on.
In my opinion, I think that the Free State Project is a detriment to this party. And although New Hampshire,
the Free State Project is not a detriment to the Libertarian Party. The Free State Project has made the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire one of the more successful libertarian parties in the country as far as outreach, growth, and membership. In fact, it has the highest per capita membership of any state libertarian party, largely because of the Free State Project. The Free State Project has brought thousands of libertarians from around not just the country, but the world to move to New Hampshire to work in concert for a world set free in our lifetime and liberty in our lifetimes successfully. To say that they are a detriment to the Libertarian Party when the Libertarian Party hasn't accomplished a goddamn meaningful thing in 50 years and the Free State Project is only 10 years old is absolutely asinine. It is borderline idiotic. You are out of your league and out of your depth and out of your fucking mind to make that assertion. And I'm sorry, but I hate to be the one to use the R word here, Tara, but you're coming off a bit fucking retarded.
Hampshire is considered the freest state in America.
We're the freest state in America largely because of the efforts of Free State Project participants and movers who have done the work in the New Hampshire legislature to block authoritarian measures and authoritarian government overreach and growth over the past decade. Something that the Libertarian Party has failed at every step to do.
I can tell you that it is it's at a crossroads right now of the direction that it wants to go.
She's absolutely right there. We are at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads, and we need to decide between meaningful success, productive activism, or irrelevancy. And the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire is choosing productive activism and meaningful success. If I have anything to say about it, and my involvement carries a little bit of weight. I'm one of the longest standing members of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire that hasn't lost their goddamn minds, who hasn't come down with Mises derangement syndrome and considered every new person to be a detrimental enemy to liberty and gone out of their goddamn minds in losing their principles and doing just baseless, corrupt shit to try and maintain control of a powerless organization that doesn't even control who can run on its own ballot line. The Secretary of State makes that decision. Libertarian Party has absolutely no control. All it is a set of keys to a Twitter account.
The Trump establishment is there. New Hampshire is the first presidential primary state.
The Trump establishment is here. Our governor elected an overwhelming majority, like landslide, like 70-something fucking percent. Mind-blowing landslide. Our Republican governor was one of the anti-Trump Republicans who refused to endorse Trump. Can you tell me the Trump fucking base is here? You are so disconnected, your little Boston liberal bubble, that you just assume anything that's not woke leftist propagandist bullshit is the Trump base is why you're so upset and so easily flustered and just flabbergasted. Just look at your face. You can't bring yourself to form the words as you're doing this interview.
Which makes it a super political hotspot. It's also a swing state. And, you know, it's where it all starts.
It's where everything starts. New Hampshire is first in the nation for everything, not just the primaries, for every political movement. It's going to be first in the nation for libertarianism. So get the fuck out of Boston. Broaden your horizons, open your sensibilities, awaken your mind. Don't use your position as a paid staff member of the Libertarian Party to go on a podcasting circuit and waste your fucking breath attacking one of the strongest allies in the liberty movement that the Libertarian Party has in the Free State Project. One of the only and most successful organizations in the liberty movement in seeing meaningful year-over-year gains towards progress in liberty in our lifetimes.
Trump has former campaign managers that live up there, and I know that Steve Bannon's been carousing the border between Massachusetts and I don't know what is happening with LP New Hampshire and why they feel the need to say these things, but I do know that it affects our candidates.
LP New Hampshire feels the need to say these things because these things need to be said. Because for too long, libertarians have been afraid to say the quiet part out loud because you're afraid of not being accepted at your ritzy Boston social circles. You can't own your libertarian principles in public. You need to wear a mask whether or not there's a pandemic. You need to hide who you are everywhere but New Hampshire. But here in New Hampshire, where we are winning, where libertarians are winning on a regular basis, year over year, month over month, week over week, day over day, we are seeing progress towards liberty. We don't need to hide anymore. The Overton window has pushed to the point we're saying the quiet part out loud, where embracing radical libertarianism isn't seen as crazy to our neighbors. It's the next logical step, and that's what we're fighting for. And if that scares you, then maybe Boston's where you belong. But you keep the Free State Project and you keep the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire out of your goddamn mouth. And you stick to your fancy social circles in Boston where you can wear your masks and you can hide who you are. Or you can admit that you're lying about who you are to be here today. And that you really belong with them.
I do know that it is not a liberty message. And, you know, we are a decentralized organization. We try to be a decentralized organization, and we try to let states, contrary to what Josh did.
You try to be a decentralized organization, yet you, as a paid staff member of the national organization, try and take a top-down approach to dictate what a state should and shouldn't say on its own media channels, in its own media market, in its own neighborhoods, to its own constituents, who you don't know, who you've never engaged with, who you've never participated with. You're a Boston political operative. You don't know the culture of New Hampshire. You don't know the culture of libertarianism. You don't know the culture of freedom that we have embraced. So what you say isn't a message of liberty, we say doesn't go far enough, because the truth matters more than your feelings. And you are a coward who refuses to acknowledge that truth.
In his email, I think the National Party really tries to let states work their stuff out on their own and just be here to be supportive of that process existing. Mm-hmm. So there will be a new election, and you know, it's up to New Hampshire LP members to decide how they want to portray themselves. But it does have an impact on the national conversation for liberty.
Then have a better conversation. If the libertarian opinions of people who are winning and embracing liberty have a detrimental impact on your national conversation, then maybe the nation isn't ready to have that conversation. Then maybe that's just more evidence of why the Free State Project is the path forward. Maybe that's the evidence that your hyper-partisanship isn't reaching voters. Yet our bold and brash messaging and our successes and our work within the legislature and the state house here in New Hampshire is reaching voters. It is reaching the masses, and it is gaining in popular support while you're failing in every other corner of this country.
And it does drive away some really good people.
Agree to disagree.
If you have a small group of people and you're trying to grow that party, if you're leaving in these toxic entities to write the narrative, it leaves less oxygen in the room for all the other good people who would just as well turn their back and go another way because they don't want to be associated with that toxicity.
So we'll take the oxygen out of the room, sure, but what we'll also do is we'll break down the walls and fan the flames of liberty so they'll grow ever higher, ever stronger, ever hotter, and continue to burn until the delicate sensibilities of those like you stop working against the active interests of liberty in our lifetime. I don't have anything more to say about you, Tara, except that what you've done is a gross overstep, using your position as a paid staff member of the Libertarian Party and speaking as a paid staff member of the Libertarian Party to go out of your way to speak negatively about the most successful organization in the libertarian fight today. Rather than building bridges and making allies, you've decided that you would rather grasp to relevancy than see somebody else lead the fight forward. And that's all I have for you guys tonight. Like I said, it would be short. It would be quick. Went longer than I thought it would. But if you want to see more content like this, and you want to keep this program going, make sure you hit that button in the description, visit the Patreon, join the production team for less than the cost of a YouTube Super Chat each month. As little as $3 a month, you can help keep this program running indefinitely. We're looking to have more content. We do have a show coming up soon with candidate for lieutenant governor in Texas, who's running on a secession platform. So that one's going to be great. Make sure you tune back in. And until next time, be free. Thanks again for tuning in and joining us tonight. Make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button on YouTube and turn on notifications to get alerted every time we go live. If you enjoyed this content, you can join our production team on Patreon by following the link in the description. And don't forget to follow on social media and join our community Discord channel by following the links in the description as well. The best part of all of this is the community that we're building and growing. So go ahead and join us. And thanks once again to our awesome sponsors and patrons for making all of this possible. And if you can't catch the show live, you can always catch it the next day on YouTube, Odyssey, Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, and wherever else you listen to your favorite podcasts. So until next time, everybody, be free.